Hello one and all, Old School Gamer 1971 back with yet another opinion. Before I begin, a special shout out to Millie and Lloyd. If you enjoy what you hear, like, share, comment and subscribe. Share the word if you would, as it is much appreciated. Today's topic is 5 studios that Sony should add to the worldwide studios. First off, I would like to say that this is an opinion only. There is little or no proof of any of this. However, I feel that they've all earned their place and feel it would benefit both parties for them to join the worldwide studios. Last year, Microsoft seemed to finally realise they needed exclusives, and more importantly, development studios to make those exclusives. I see timed exclusives as icing on the cake. It's not a main course, however. PUBG is a prime example. Yes, Xbox has had the game longer, but when the PlayStation 4 version was released, a lot of the bugs was ironed out. As such, Microsoft has brought several quality developers to make these games for the next gen Xbox, some of which I have the green-eyed monster for, Obsidian and Compulsion. I will applaud this, as I know that the console fight for supremacy will bring about some amazing games for both consoles. Competition is what has made this an amazing generation. A 3-horse race has kept everybody on their toes. As such, Sony should, in my opinion, take the opportunity to bring several studios that have either worked exclusively with Sony or a really good working relationship with Sony. Now, I could have made this list longer, but I wanted developers that have made quality games recently. Also developers Sony cannot really afford to lose. The developers bring top sellers and an air of quality to the PlayStation 4. Bringing them on board will bolster an already amazing worldwide studios. Some of these studios, however, might wish to stay multi-platform or independent. This is quite understandable. However, extending the olive branch shows how much they mean to the Sony platform. I would hate to hear that Sony never made an offer, so they went to Microsoft because they did. As I said, there is no evidence that either company has ever made an offer for any of these developers anytime recent. Anyway, let's get started. Here is my list of the 5 studios and what they have brought to Sony in the past, and why they would be a good fit for both companies. Also, I will only be listing the PlayStation releases. Insomniac has been around since 1994. My own first experience of Insomniac games was Disruptor, a first-person sci-fi shooter. This was enjoyable and looked pretty good for a PlayStation 1 title. The original Spyro trilogy was from these guys also. For me, it was the PlayStation 2 where they finally found their feet with Ratchet & Clank franchise, releasing 4 games for the PlayStation 2. Then they had the Resistance trilogy for the PlayStation 3. Really good first-person sci-fi shooters. Add to that 2 more Ratchet & Clank games. They were busy on the PlayStation 3. This generation, a remake of Ratchet & Clank, I for one really enjoyed this game. Then last September, Spider-Man dropped. This proved to be an absolute powerhouse. Insomniac shown what they was capable of. Over the years they've released a few games for PC and 1 game for the Xbox One. For the longest time they have developed for Sony with exclusives. I believe a strong partnership between the two already exists. Bringing them into the fold? For Sony, Insomniac has proven they can make hit after hit after hit. Whether it's a new IP from the ground up, Resistance, or an established commodity, Spider-Man. For Insomniac, it is testament to how much faith Sony trusts Insomniac that they entrusted them to produce a Spider-Man game. So they say round the proverbial campfire, there is a new Spider-Man that could be on our way to our brand spanking new PlayStation 5, or probably 2 years into that. Personally, they have worked together for so long with so many PlayStation exclusives. I would love to see more Ratchet & Clank, Resistance, and or remakes. And Spider-Man 2. Quantic Dream. Now I know in the last 48 hours it's been announced that there has been a merger, but we'll roll with it. Having been around since 1997, my first experience was Fahrenheit, which came out for the PlayStation 2 and later the PlayStation 4. I really like this game. Its style has been the same pretty much ever since that first game, and it's certainly right up my street. Their next outing was on PlayStation 3 and later PlayStation 4 Heavy Rain. Whilst Fahrenheit had not been a runaway success, even though Fahrenheit was a multi-platform game, Heavy Rain did sell very well. I think the story having 4 strong characters and being about a serial killer helped big time. Then they released Beyond Two Souls, a game for the PlayStation 3 and yet again a PlayStation 4 version later. It was a story about a woman and a ghost, maybe. Then there's the most recent release, Detroit Become Human, which came out for the PlayStation 4. This has an amazing story and keeps you playing. They're games you either love them or you hate them. They are Marmite. They are more narrative than action. But with 40 plus endings for Detroit Become Human, they've worked with Sony exclusively pretty much since the PlayStation 3. With Sony it's ready when it's ready. God of War was delayed as with many Sony releases. David Cage has a similar philosophy. It would benefit them both. For Sony, a team that could make high quality narrative driven games. Now that Telltale is done, we need them. For Quantic Dream, while some of their games have been hits, there is times Beyond Two Souls they have not sold as well. After what happened to Telltale, they might see joining Worldwide Studios as some sort of insurance. None of us saw Telltale closing its doors. By the way, I've enjoyed every game that they've ever released, including Beyond Two Souls, and certainly want to play more. And now for my 2 cents worth. I really don't see this working out. I mean, Detroit Become Human sold 3 million copies on the PlayStation 4. However, I cannot see them optimizing it for every single console, no matter how many employees they have. To me, I think it's just going to detract from the games, and I think if anything, it's just going to sell worse and cost more to make the game overall. Kojima Productions has been around since 2005. Before that, he'd been part of the Konami team. Since being his own boss, so to speak, they made Metal Gear Solid 3 Substance on the PlayStation 2, Metal Gear Solid 4, Castlevania Lord of Shadows, and Metal Gear Rising on the PlayStation 3, Metal Gear Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear 5 Phantom Pain on the PlayStation 3 and 4, and now looking forward to Death Stranding coming out before year's end. To me, it's something that Kojima needed after Konami, was freedom to make the games he wants. No restrictions, no deadlines. It's time for him to spread his wings. At Sony he will get to do this. It's why I own a PlayStation, is the games I wouldn't get on any other console. The weird titles where you read the description and question what the hell, then you play it and think, okay, why do I like this game so much? Aquanaut's Holiday, Mr. Mosquito, Flower and Mr. Massager. I mean, The Journey, definitely not Mr. Massager. What I'm saying is, I believe that with Sony, Kojima would never hear, that's a really good idea, but let's make Metal Gear survive instead. For Sony, it is a programmer that can make any game engine sing. Look at what it's done for the Decima engine. The relationship seems good and he could help with so many studios. He is someone that Sony could not afford to lose. Supermassive Games. They've been around since 2008. The first title I played from these guys was Doctor Who and the Eternity Clock for the PlayStation 3. I didn't know it was from Supermassive Games until today. Then it was Until Dawn for the PlayStation 4, one of the best survival horror games on the PlayStation 4. Then it was Until Dawn Rush of Blood, a VR shooter, Bravo Team VR, a team-based shooter, and soon to be Man of Medan. Now the Man of Medan is a multi-platform game. Looking at the quality of the games, I've enjoyed what I've played, and this one looks to be another narrative experience. What they bring is a horror flavour, pacing and understanding of what is good cheese and what is bad cheese. Now yes, I know they have a deal for multi-platform games, Dark Pictures, but I think Sony should consider making them an offer anyways. Sony believed in Until Dawn. When it was a PlayStation 3 Move title that didn't work too well, mainly because the camera didn't work at all in the dark, Supermassive reworked it. Sony gave them as much time as needed, and Supermassive delivered. It was understanding that a great game takes time to make, and belief that they can deliver this as a talented team. Letting Microsoft snap up all the software houses it can, they cannot let them take a software developer that they have such a great relationship with. They have admitted that there's more games on the way for the Sony consoles. None of Sony's other studios make any games like this. Heading into the next gen developments, costs are about to go up. Sony is the better fit for Supermassive games. Bungie became their own company in 2012. Since then they've made Destiny and Destiny 2. I have enjoyed a little time on them both. They're both sci-fi first-person shooters and have a large amount of DLC. This increases the cost of owning the game, as some DLC is needed to play online. If your friends own the DLC and you don't, well, with some of the DLC appearing first on PlayStation. Now this could be a good relationship with either Bungie or Activision. Now I get that Microsoft will look to sign Bungie as they arguably made the best Halo games. Now I think a Minecraft situation needs to happen here, where it remains a multi-platform game but the DLC comes first to the PlayStation. To me it could bring about a new breed of gaming that would see companies bring games to other consoles. Now this is unlikely, as they will probably look for one of the larger publishers instead, EA, Sega or Epic. Being honest, I would love to see all 5, but feel maybe it's 2 off the list at best. Insomniac and Quantic Dream, maybe. However, I hope Kojima sticks around for a while. Whatever happens, I believe that they should make an offer to all of these companies, as it tells the company that their accomplishments have not went unnoticed. Whatever happens, I believe Sony is going to reveal more than just a console this year. New additions to the worldwide studios and new alliances with developers. Microsoft has done an amazing job at getting some quality developers how it has. In time their exclusives will come and Sony cannot get complacent. Supermassive Games, Insomniac and Quantic Dream have shown real loyalty, and Sony should publicly extend an olive branch. Even if they refuse it, it shows what they mean to Sony and PlayStation owners. It is a business after all, and with new consoles coming out from Google, Microsoft, Nintendo at some point, and Sony, even a rumbling of a new Sega console, maybe being multi-platform is the way to go, but only time will tell. Thanks for listening. Enjoy your day everyone. If you enjoyed today's opinion, there is plenty more content like this on my channel. This is Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.